Hi, this is Mary Kay. I'm going to be demonstrating how to paint a bluebird, it might be a shrike, on some apple blossoms using Masa paper. Here's my photograph that I've traced onto the Masa paper using non-water soluble tracing paper. So those lines are going to stay when they get wet. There's what it looks like. I didn't put any of the blossoms in. I just put in the tree trunk and the bird. So this is Masa paper. It's an inexpensive machine-made rice paper. It has sizing on this smooth side. So the first thing I'm going to do is spray it on both sides with a little bit of water. I need to have a backing board to work with this. Now I'm going to crumple it up, and I want to crumple it especially where the bird isn't. So that's where I'm going to put my blossoms in my background, my tree. You can even go so far as just to crumple it all into this little ball. Then straighten it out, or very gently straighten it out, and all of those little crinkles made cracks in the sizing, so it's going to kind of end up looking like a batik. The next step is to wet your backing board. I'm using watered down glue, and I drew a square where my mat goes, so I know where the center is. And I need to make sure that my Masa paper covers the line. Otherwise, the edge of the paper will show when I put the mat on, and that's always irritating and hard to crop and so forth. So if we just draw the line on there and then spread the glue out evenly. And then if you're using your good brush like I am, make sure you have water to rinse out or you'll ruin your brush. Okay, now I'm going to set my Masa paper down. Start making sure that it covers all those lines. Now I'm going to start just pressing it out, pressing it down. You can hear the frogs croaking from the rains yesterday. Make sure I press down these edges because I don't like it when they kind of fold up. You can leave little bumps in it, or you can press it as flat as you want. All of the ways work. There's not a specific right way to do this. Okay, so there I have that on my paper. A little bit of glue on my fingers. Wipe that off. I'm going to start very softly with the background. The background in this painting is a little bit of Antwerp blue and then some yellow to make that light green. So here's some Antwerp blue. This is damp already, so if I just add a lot of water to my paint and then start painting softly, it's going to bleed out. Now, I'm going to save the bird till the end. This is just the background. Now I'm going to add yellow to my Antwerp blue. And get that beautiful spring yellow. Start down here. Corners, the paper, add a little water. I'm just putting in the background now. I'm not worrying about the flowers or the leaves, the blossoms. I'm putting in that very soft yellowish green above and below the tree branch, and even in between the feet, right in there, and on this side of them too, so that I know that my eye knows that this green follows all the way behind it. Just very loosely putting this in. I can leave some light areas. I can paint over the twigs. They're going to end up being darker, so if you get a little bit under the bird, it's fine because it's the watercolor. So that's the second step. Now what I'm going to do is go in with some pink and put in some of these blossoms. I'm going to start working on the leaves and the pink blossoms. I'm going to use my, I just wet the pencil in. I'm going to use my pencil brush or a museum brush. It's a number 10 round. You know what, I think I'm going to start with those leaves. I'm going to make more green, so Antwerp and yellow. It's a little darker green now. Yeah, I like that. In this little spot here, I've kept Grumbacher, Phthalo, yellow, green, but I don't have any. I don't even have any old tubes, so I just have to make my own. So here's the green. That's Antwerp and yellow. I'm just going to start just painting some leaf shapes. It's wet into wet now, so it's going to soften and blur. Some trees, when they put out their first blossoms, don't put out any leaves, but I think this is an apple tree. And apple trees do put out little leaves when they put out their blossoms. These are just loosely painted. Just suggestions in the background. I'm going to rinse that out, and now I'm going to go into my pink. And I'm going to put these little buds. I'm not really painting the white flowers, just leaving some areas of white. There's two buds up in this corner, but I think that's a bad place for my eye to go. It's going to take my eye away from the bird and away from these over here. Everything is sort of blending because the paper's wet. So it's soft. Okay, now I'm going to go in with Antwerp and paint the feathers in the bird. its beak is blue and its feathers are blue. It does look like the sky, but it's soft. I think it's pretty. So rather than changing the color, I'm going to stick with this. And even the beak. Then there's a soft little bit of brown on the underside. Now that's going to be burnt sienna. I have a little pink in that. Let's start up here. More water so that this is softer. Maybe even a little bit of yellow into that. Looks like there's a tiny bit of pale blue right in here. I'll let this dry a little bit before I put in the eye. This is still damp, but I'm going to go ahead and put in the tree trunk. I'm going to do that with sepia, the branch trunk, and I'm going to mix it with some of that Antwerp. I'm going to start over here where the branch is darkest and thickest. Wherever I hit a blossom or a leaf, I'm going to stop painting the brown. I like that it's being a little blurry. Now I've got these feet. The feet are actually lighter than the bark. As the branch goes farther from the tree trunk, it gets skinnier and skinnier. I'm going to put some blue into that. Just using Antwerp. You can use cerulean if you want to. That's pretty. It's not going green, which is good. Sometimes Antwerp will go sort of green when you put it in the browns. I'm going to add another layer of blue to my wings. And the beak. It's pretty soft. I wish I had made the background a little lighter because the bird is so soft. The one problem with using the non-water soluble is that I'm going to have a line here. So what I really need to do, I think, is actually go in and make it like a disappearing edge with some green so that that line will sort of disappear. I make it a little darker right next to the bird. And then just soften that going out this way. I can even do the same thing on the other. I'll do it right in here too, because I don't like that line showing, and so by putting a darker color next to it, I'm making it less visible. So I'm remaking that green. It's just yellow in Antwerp. And now, it's I have this dark green here. I need a little bit of it here. And I don't need it solid all along the back here, but I think I need just a little bit more, say right in here, so that we know that that bird is in front of whatever this light green stuff is, or darker green stuff. There we go, that's better. That makes the belly look, the bird looks more in front of the foliage now. Okay, and now the feet. The feet are kind of a dark brown, so I'm going to use my sepia. I'm still using this 10-inch museum brush because the point is so tiny. I can get away with it. I want it actually darker than that, so I'm going to go into some neutral tint too. And I'm leaving little white lines as highlights. So the feet, they're kind of brown, I think, really. I sort of miss that color. Let's try some burnt sienna now in with that dark color and see if that helps. I'll go for feet. I'll go for, it's not screaming these are perfectly formed, but I know that that's what that is. Now I'm going to go with a littler brush and put in a few more details into the tree. So just right in here. Still very wet, so it's loose. I kind of like that, actually. I like it in here. I'm going to try and get this yellowy green with my little brush and see if I can't get like little green lines to these buds. Maybe they're that's too dark green. I need to be more yellow. Let's try this. Go over it and see what happens. How about over here? Try these guys. That's kind of subtle, sort of like that. I want to add the eye and the little dark area around the eye. So the eye is pretty much black. I'm going to use my little brush. I'm going to use neutral tint. Touch my paper towel. Here we go. So, okay, so the eye is really, it has to have a glint though. Every eye always has to have a glint. So you have to leave a little white spot in the eye. And this has a little bit of this dark color that goes through the feathers. Leaving just a little white area between the feathers and the eye there. And then I want a few of these, that darks in these tail feathers or the wing feathers. That defines it much better. I hope this is drying now. Not really. I guess because of all the rain, it's not drying very fast, and it's got glue. So I'm just gonna try to make these little blossoms a little more detailed, a little darker right where they hit. This is kind of in the background. This is sort of blurry. Oh, here's a couple I didn't really attach. I'll put these in a little more detailed and attach them. That's a blurry one. And we can make this one more detailed. This is just pure pink. This is overlap of two, really. This one. Okay, now I'm going to go back to that light green with my little brush and try to make these come out of a little group of leaves here. This doesn't have its little brown twig. I'll put that in. Okay, these. Does this guy need a little thing to attach it? Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, so now I need a little twig. A little twig right here. And I'll put a little more on the base of this so it looks a little darker on the bottom. A little blurrier on the top. And that one I'll go ahead and make it a darker pink here. I don't like that blur there. It's not blurry enough. You have to be pretty gentle with this paper or you'll rub it off. I think all my pinks need to be definite blossoms because I didn't really put any soft pink into the background. I just put the blossoms. So I'm just going to change this into a real blossom. Okay, I think, let me see how it looks. This part's pretty white right in here, and then I don't know why I put that there. It looks like it's darker. So I'm going to just work on this belly a little bit. This part looks like it's dark under these feathers here. And then it's dark right in here. But then gets light and blue right there at the butt. So I'll just put a little more, that's got green in it. Okay, so I'll just put a little more blue right here. Okay. Is that good enough? It's always hard to know when to stop. I always say that the time to stop is right before the next brush stroke makes it worse. So you kind of want to say what you have to say and then stop. It's always better to stop before you've overworked it, as I keep working it. Actually, I like how the eye turned out and how the dark line sort of ran into those creases. So that's Masa paper. Thanks for watching.